Good evening, everyone. It's a great day to be back. Day 3 of the Jamaica National Championships. I hope that you had time to recover from the electric 100-meter performances last night. On both men and women, it had everything: speed, the drama, heartbreak for those who got injured, the joy, especially for people making their first team, and obviously the great Chilean Fraser Price finding a way back to represent Jamaica. This is what makes sports compelling. And today we're back for another action-packed session. The senior program gets on the way, hopefully in another 8 minutes or so, with the opening round for women's 200 meters. And then that will be followed by the semis for the men's 200 meters. Earlier today, they had the opening round for men in the 200 meters. I had a chance to catch a bit of that. I watched it. It was good to see Brian Level out there because yesterday wasn't a great day for him in terms of what happened at the end there, and him basically pulling up in 100 meters. So we'll get a better chance later on today. Chris Taylor looking decent this morning too, but nothing spectacular. People just going through the motions. Also, a bunch of athletes absent, so that's never a good thing. We'll get to see. There's a bunch of stuff also happening in the field. Triple jump was in progress earlier. Women's shot put. Thomas Dodd is there, so we can give some updates on that as we progress. And of course, we'll have good talk. I'm also looking forward later on. We'll see the likes of Akira Nugent, Rashid Broadbell, bunch of athletes gonna touch the track. We'll get 100 meters and 110 hurdles kicking through, and I will also update you on all that. So as usual, drop your comments, your reactions, your predictions, and let's watch what unfolds. And then we also will kind of touch on a few things that's happening around the world. All in the game, what's up? I think you're preempting me on this already. I saw this Favor Fila dropping 1.9 PB. Hey, you have to like it. Earlier she ran super time that was a fast time, but that wasn't a legal win today. And so I haven't seen the race yet. Have you seen it? I just saw the results, but I don't think I saw the earlier race today, but I didn't see the 1087. So yeah, and as you know, Favor Fili, is one of those athletes that decided to switch allegiance and will no longer represent Nigeria. She has had interesting issues with their administration. Many of you might be well aware that last year at the Olympics, for reasons that we cannot understand, her name was left off the 100-meter entry list, was not submitted in time or not submitted at all. And baffling is not the word that we would, that's the word I can say on air, but it's certainly not the word that is appropriate for the kind of mistakes that these athletes have been making. So yeah, right now on the track is they are going through the boys under 20 200-meter prelims, and then we'll get the women's prelims in a second. But while I'm here, I'll talk a little bit about some other results that I think are favorable. All in the game, and I only saw the win aided 1078. I did see that. I haven't seen the win legal race yet. I saw the race earlier, that 1078, but it was 3.1 win. It's not much I can make of that. That's the same race Gabby Thomas was in, right? Running like a 1095. Interesting stuff happening there earlier at that meet there in the ATX Classic rather. Tyreek Hill is certainly trying to run a lot. He managed a 10-10 there, but that was also a win aided, almost 3 meters per second, 2.7. So it's good to see him out there. I guess he's really serious about this track and field running. Still looks big. Lots of issues there, but can't really complain about a guy that's primary profession is an American footballer. Right. There was the Terrence Jones was running too today. The Ghanaian Fusini also 985. So lots of win-aided stuff there. All in the game was saying yes. Gabby was in the running 10.95 win-aided. So mindset, how are you doing? Big up to you as well. But let me touch on a couple other stuff. Fine performances today. First of all, shout out to Chase Jackson. Chase Ely, it's Jackson, all right? Yeah, 20.95 in the shot put today. That's an American record. That is big throwing there. You want to see that. And women's shot put, I think, is in an unbelievable place as well. So I like it. That's still way off some of the big leads, but we can't really judge the women's shot put the way we normally do. To be honest with you, when you look at the records for the women's shot put, most of them come from GDR days, a lot of Soviet Union stuff too, a lot of stuff in the 80s that very questionable. But 2095 is big throwing, and it's good to see Chase Jackson there. Good evening to you, Eileen. How are you doing? Paulette, blessings to you as well. Thanks for hopping on. Hopefully everybody's having a great day so far. Yeah, so they're just doing some high school, well, not high school, but mostly these are high schoolers rather, under 20 results there for the 200 meters. What else I wanted to touch on? Tentogler today too. All in the game, you might be happy with this. I don't know if you are. Going 8:46 in the long jump. That's a world lead. Kind of needed that. It's it's June and we don't have anybody approaching the big jumps, and so it's nice to see that. I still think 840s in long jump is well below the standards that we should be having. A bunch of guys should be jumping way further than that, but it doesn't happen. And then I saw also the Dutch women there running 42.02 to win the European Team Championships in 4x1, that's impressive, very much impressive there. That I think that's just probably that might be top 10 of all time. I have to check that again, but I think it's somewhere up there. It's certainly up there in terms of top performances. Let me check the results on that. Yeah, 42.02 today. So I think that would have put them in. I got to see the all-time top list for that. I'll check that in a second. But that's up there for sure. I think it might be just behind or after Trinidad and Tobago's national record. So, all right. All in the game is same. Bryce Deadman, 40. Yeah, I did see that too. 44.67. Netherlands. Oh, the men too. They ran really ridiculously well. What was that? Like 37.9, right? Was it? Or 30? What was it? 37.4. I have to check the results on that. I did watch that. I saw a clip of that earlier. Got to find it again. 37.87. Dutch national record there. That's pretty fast. Pretty fast. Yeah, thanks for reminding me. So national records for the Dutch. At a meet, that's not even that important in the grand scheme of things. And yeah, so that's up there. And yeah, thanks for confirming the 37.87. So Looks like they're interviewing Shanika Ricketts there. Let me get the results on that from earlier today. I did see a couple of her jumps. Uh, don't remember exactly what the final jump was. Yeah, so Ricketts won in. Let me just put that up in a second. So Shanika Ricketts winning the women's triple jump in 14:52 ahead of Smith 14:44. Kimberly Williams 13:80, still around Kimberly Williams, into a headwind there of minus into a negative win of minus 2.5. Maybe if she had gotten like a 2.0, she would probably approach 14 meters. Maybe not quite, but who knows. Uh, at this stage, I think both Smith and Ricketts should get to the world champion. Well, obviously Ricketts will get to the world championships, and Smith as well. Williams will probably have to rely on a world ranking, and actually, she doesn't even have the furthest jump of the year, if I'm not mistaken. She's probably number 4 for Jamaica this year. I have to look at the list. Yeah. Yeah, 14:55 is the standard, right? But Ricketts already has the standard, right? Yeah. Doesn't she? So the women on the track for the heat one of the 200 meters. Let me let me just check a quick thing for the triple jump here. Right. Right. So Akila doesn't even have the standard. She has like 14:26 this season. So it's only Smith that has, I believe, the world standard, unless she has it from last year. I can't recall. And Foreman has a 14:01 for Jamaica as well. Yeah, it's unlikely they could get in there on ranking, but they'll have to make some big jumps there. I don't think they'll get in on ranking. Yeah. Yeah, Ricketts and 2 other women in the world currently have the standard. Yeah. All right. So women's 200 meters currently on the track right now. And so Berger comes out well. Is that Kemba Nelson? Kemba Nelson running a good curve as well, coming off the bend slightly ahead. Slowly is trying to make a move here. Berger's coming in, but Kemba Nelson's going to take this ahead of Berger. Flash time is 23:34. Got to find the results for that in a second here. So Nelson winning that in 23:39 into a headwind, a 1.2 headwind ahead of Berger 23:45. Crystal slowly getting 23:88. Only the winner goes through plus the next 4 best times. So you want to run quick if you don't win this. It is slow mindset. There is some, yeah, there's no 2 ways around it. It is slow. Even with the wind, that's slow. So the next heat has Ferguson, Heisley, Coyote, And that came off screen fast. Let me see if I can get it. So there's a bunch of athletes here that. So I think Coyote is from Guinea, so she's not a part of this. McGregor is running. Palmer. Douglas is also running again. Cheyenne Douglas. So yeah. All in the game. You just read my right. 200-meter outside of Sharika has been an issue with getting people to be consistent sub 22.5. That is true. If you think about it, and it's an interesting question. I don't know why more athletes aren't doubling and doing the kind of work needed to run consistently good times. We saw Shelly and Fraser Price run a 200 some years ago. Yeah, she did that in Eugene, right? This is also an event that you have to really recognize that the history of the 200 meters in Jamaica is so outstanding that you shouldn't. y- Women should be just knocking down the door for this. The men as well too. You know, I think the men are worse. Yeah. Greetings to your objectivity. So McGregor moving well. Douglas there is running really good. Coming off the curve here. Strawn is running well, but Anthony Strawn is from Bahamas. It looks like it's McGregor, then Douglas there as the first Jamaican to come across. All right, so Strawn winning in 23-22. She doesn't count for this context. In this context, she's a Bahamian athlete. So I don't know why they put a Q behind her name. McGregor is by right the official winner here, and Shania Douglas there fading at the end, but fighting hard and running a 23:70. All in the game is saying was supposed to be Kevona, Lane, Liston, even Janique ran 22.4 in the NCAA. That is true. I don't know what happened to Lene. That's an interesting question. We know what's going on with Briana. Hopefully next year is her year as she turns pro now, and that might work out the right way. Kevona, I don't know what's up with Kevona. I don't even know the latest details on Kevona. If you guys know, let me know. Objectivity says, question: how do you feel about Douglas running so many races as a junior? It depends. I believe she's really good. I'm fine with it, largely because she's not really running any times that are outrageously fast. It's pretty good running. She's really good, very competitive spirit. But if she was edging like 22, if she was running like 22 twos or something like that, I'll be like, whoa, maybe, more time for development or something like that. But I think she's fine. And then you have to think there's a break between the high school season ending, Carifta, all of that stuff. So I think I don't have an issue with it. Plus, she probably would need to be here anyway, and she probably get picked regardless for the other team. So yeah, I'm fine with it. What do you think? You think it's too much? So heat number 3 on track. There's Ashanti Moore there. There's another athlete from Guinea, Condi, if I'm pronouncing that well. Matthews and Jura Levy. So 4 women here, 1 Jamaican. 1 non-Jamaican. Sorry. Ashanti Moore moving around the curve, but doesn't look that. She's running a good curve. Matthews also running a good curve. But Ashanti Moore here powering away, swinging her arms all the way to the end, winning this in 22.92. So 22.92 official time into a minus 2.8 win. It's pretty decent as an opening run. Let's see if she has more in the legs. Super interesting body tone. The more I look at it, for sure, it's a Lika Clava, as you said yesterday, all in the game. Almost like Lika Clava. Bigger though, but objectively just says, I like your perspective. I was undecided / nervous. It's too much. Yeah, sometimes it can be, but here's where I worry usually with the junior athletes. And maybe there's no cost to be worried. I think because unless there's really a good scientific paper on this, which is interesting, I'm not sure what the data is on this. It's probably just what we see over time. I think she'll be a good athlete, and I don't think she's doing anything out of the ordinary, right? I think she's pushing upon some limits that you would say, is the body good enough to do this consistently? Then maybe I'd have some more questions. Someone may have a different perspective on it. And yeah, either way, they would have to be here at this point. So edging up into the senior ranks is probably for more experience. It's more for, trying to make one of those. What's the other teams? There's some is it Panama or CSE games? Yeah. Sup, Joyce? What are they not showing live? I don't know. Oops. So on track right now is Heat 4, and it's only 4 athletes on the track. So it was supposed to be Alexis James, Kashika Cameron, Jodine Williams, Briana Williams, Tia Clayton. They're not there. Tia Clayton, Shanice Walker, and Janelle Smith didn't show up. So it's only Cameron, James, Williams. So Briana Williams getting out really well and running a good curve, but Jodine Williams is coming. Should be right up on her by the time you get around the curve here. Briana is fading now. Jodine Williams is maintaining her form. They're fighting off each other there. And Jodine Williams gets it ahead of Briana. 23:42. 23:54 is the official time into a headwind again. And now and the athletes, this is not right though. The Guinea athlete cannot be in the mix, so they have to fix that in a second. Let me go back to the last heat there. Briana fighting there. She just doesn't have the speed endurance. All the form is gone. Her face is just grimacing. She's losing everything. And it looks like she's fighting well, but in the end, it's not particularly helpful to her to her cause anyway. So 23-42 for Williams, who goes through automatically. We'll have to work out the details after this. All in the game says there's a good crop of about 6 guys in the 800 meters at the moment, but their 145 guys need to push each other to be consistent sub 144 guys at bare minimum for one or two to be able to make the next step. Yet again, another challenging aspect for Jamaica. Men's 800 meters, 800 meters in general, outside of Gould right now. Yeah, I don't know what to say. It's one of those events that it's part of the structure from the junior angle coming up. But regionally, too, if you think about it, Carifta region, they're not particularly good at this event. And then no one seems to be pushing boundaries. And it's something that can be done. It certainly can be done. The truth is, if you're a class 1 athlete in high school, I think you should be running 147, even 146. In fact, that's not a lot to ask for. And so there's a lot of work that needs to be done there. I was looking yesterday for the kid at Dartmouth, the Jamaican kid, and I thought he was pretty okay for high school standards in Jamaica, but he hasn't progressed by any real standards either. He's what is it like he's at 147, I think. His name is slipping me right now. But yeah, I'll get to those comments. Let me just on track right now. We're gonna get the semifinal of the men's 200 meters. That's coming up, and that will feature. Is this right? I think I just saw a picture of Brian Levin. Maybe he was just warming up. It should feature Lewis, Smith, Morgan, Davis, Reed, O'Dane Crooks, Michael Campbell, and Adrian Card. That should be what's coming up next. Mindset says Briana is just not improving rather. I think she has regressed. Sherwood says Briana looked so much better a few weeks ago. She's not having a good trials. Very good point. I thought she was also looking better. I was staking it was more hope and gut feeling that John Smith would have been able to deliver something this year. He would have gotten a really good, talented athlete, and it's more than a year now, so he would be able to instill certain things. As we know, John Smith is a tactician too. His technical sprinting is his thing as well. It just never happened, but all in the game is still here. He'll chime in. I'll steal this from him. Last week when we saw those good runnings or running from Briana a couple weeks ago, he quickly pointed out saying that he wanted to see Briana go up against some stiffer competition. She should have gone to a Diamond League or a couple Continental Tour meets, kind of test herself with better competition. And so it could be, as Sherwood is saying, she's just not having a good trials. It could also be that the competition is different. So it's an interesting thing. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know how to put it into context, to be honest with you, but we'll see. You guys let me know your thoughts. Thanks again for jumping on and thanks for joining. Uh, so Michael Campbell is making a good move here in this men's 200 meters here. Everybody's like pretty neck and neck right now. There's crooks over there. It's hard to know who's going to win this. Adrian Carr is making a move right now. He's moving faster than everybody. Carr looks like he takes this ahead of Crooks and Michael Campbell. We wait for the official results. I think I saw like a 20.7 flashing across. Let's see. Yeah, the results are here now too. Let's get that up. Carr winning it in 20.75. This is a semifinal at the senior level. 20.75, 20.79, and 20.81. So it's the top two that automatically goes through and the next fastest 2 times. Just looking at it again, Carr had to make a just a bit more relaxed than the other guys coming in on the outside lane there and winning it from lane 8, it seems like. Yeah. All right, I'll go back to the comments here. All in the game, 9 women who registered for the 200 were DNS. Always disappointing when that happened. It is. I saw that. I also thought that, people they also enter. I think if Briana had made a 100-meter team, she wouldn't have run the 200, right? I think that's the kind of thing that people are doing. But yeah, that's part of it. Adi, so you're doing. Remember, MVP turned her down because she's not into her training and preparations. Interesting. You're referring to Briana, right? Also, you don't want everybody at the same camp, right? At some point, that's a very difficult thing to manage. I said it for a while when they were fishing around after Atto. I think they should have gone to John Smith from then. Even Bobby. The conditions in California works. It's hard to make sense of it. It we'll see. She's still young enough. I would imagine when Smith took the thing, he would say his real target is the Olympics in LA. Try to get to one of these world championships, build up. We'll see. But it's beginning to look like if she doesn't make a mark soon, it might be a tough thing because there's some space available, but it's not really, right? You imagine the twins will take full control once healthy for a very long time. If Litzton comes in the mix, if Alana Reed finds her way, there's some interesting stuff there. There's other athletes in the mix, so you got to figure it out. I'm seeing Brian Level there doing some extra work. He ran this morning, ran within himself, so hopefully he's okay. All in the game is saying 20.75 is shockingly slow. It is. Yeah. I'll get back to those comments in a second. Let's just watch this race. So I couldn't gather much from Brian Level today to see if he was really if he was just taking it easy. He didn't look as good, but we'll see. So Level working the curve there. Also Taekwondo Tracy making a move. is that Javari Thomas is moving, but Brian Level is leading them all, and he's running really within himself. He's shutting it down, I think, early enough. 20.50 is the flash time. 20:51, I believe, is the official time. Into a negative win. Not fast, but conservative running there, I think, from Brian Level. Let's see. So 20.51 and Tracy 2079, those two automatically go through. Thomas 20.98, I think, is on the bubble. I'll have to check in a second. All in the Game says, to be honest, a rule of mine is never to trust times out of Florida and Texas. I was waiting to see Brianna run somewhere else. Yeah, you know, the Florida runs, the Texas runs, it just depends, right? Yeah, I get what you're saying, though. Sometimes I don't trust the clocks in some of these places, but that's a different question. Nevada, what's up? Give Brianna another year with Coach Smith. Some athletes take longer to adapt to a new system. I think you're right. I'm not writing her off yet. I'm just saying when you look at the clock, it's getting there, and there's need for her to hopefully figure it out. She's been around for a long time, a lot of promise, a lot of early success as a junior. Also had real success at the Olympics too. Running on that relay team and where in Tokyo. And so there's that drop off, and it's never easy when you leave the setup that work for you all the time. But rightly so, I don't think Otto Bolin could condition her much longer, right? He's not a he has other interests, right? He's on television, he's doing other things. It doesn't work like that. You have to dedicate one way or the other. All in the Game is saying, who's your top three in the women's 200-meter final? I have no idea. This is really. I think Jordine Williams will take a spot. I'll think about it in a second. Yeah. Objectivity says, yeah, no room for Brianna at MVP. All in the Game, yeah. Assess Brianna after one more year with Smith. Yeah. Ronesta says maybe Williams can try for a spot on the Turkey team. Come, it's a little harsh there, though. I mean, it's a little bit harsh. Yeah. I'll think. Let me think about the women's 200 meters in a second. There's the final. Is this the heat 3 of 3 is on track on the track right now? Let's see what we get from Christopher Taylor. He won his heat earlier today, fairly comfortable, but it's really hard to make good judgment because these guys not running any times that is of any note. But it's Palmer, Somerville, White, Francis, Demar Francis. That is Christopher Taylor. Shakur Williams, Kadrian Golson, who looked decent today as well, and Barrett. Those are the 8 athletes. Only the top 2 get through. And right now, I think the bubble times are 20:81 and 20:83. I'll take a look at this. I'll get back to your comments in a second. It's a good start there. Christopher Taylor, Goldson also moving as well. Christopher Taylor not running the curve I'd like to see. He's not going to come out. He's going to come off slightly ahead. He's motoring away now. Golson is making a big move, taking a look. Taylor shuts it down. That's a much better run from Taylor. That's a comfortable run, a professional run. 20.50 is the official time into a 1.4 win. There's more there. Still slow, but there's more there. Let me get that up. That's heat number 3. So 20.50 and Golson 20.76. This had to be the fastest heat regardless because, these guys were going to want to work hard. Golson coming from way behind. Yeah, this looks comfortable from Christopher Taylor. We'll see what we get. I don't know how much more is there. Can he go down to 20 flat? Can he get to somewhere around there? That would be an indication of big progress. I'm not sure though. But it looks like there's a lot more in the legs. So you should be eking towards closer to 20 seconds. And we'll see what we get from that. That's going to be a major final tomorrow. Okay, let's see where we are now. Eric Park says about 20 flat, but improving. Uh, let's see. On that sub 9.8 plus was done in Texas. Maybe I have to come back to that. Ashanti Moore is the only one I feel confident about. With the other two spots are lottery. Yeah, I think Moore can get there. I think she'll probably win. I think maybe Jodie. I'll think about it in a second. All in the game. So level Taylor and potentially goals. What do you think? Because he didn't execute the first half of that race properly, and he he had the speed to come back in the end, but that can also be optical illusion given the quality of the guys out there. But heading into the final, we have Christopher Taylor 2050, Brian Level 2051, Carr 2075, Golson 2076, Crooks, Tracy, Campbell, and Reed. I'm gonna go with I think it's Taylor and Level. It should be Level then Taylor, but it depends on what kind of how fit Brian is. He pulled up yesterday, so it could be just a cramp. Who knows? And so I'm going for those two for certain. And I think I'm going to put my hat out and say Kedro Golson will get the next spot. So I think that's the top three for me for tomorrow. Yeah, yeah. I'm going with Golson for sure. Yeah, Golson over Tracy. Yeah. And let me think about the women again. So I'm thinking Ashanti Moore. I don't know where Kemba really is. Can she come back and do something special? You have McGregor, Williams. I'm feeling Williams might try something here. I'm gonna go with Ashanti Williams, Jodine, that is, and maybe in between Kemba and Ranisha McGregor. Maybe tomorrow I'll think about it a little bit more. Objectivity is asking, what is the World Championships qualifying time for 200 meters? For men, it's 20.16, and for women, it's 22.5, I think, 22.57. Yeah. Adi says, I don't see Chris Taylor as a factor. The time off, a lack of competition does not help his muscles and stamina. So you don't see him as a factor to win to make the team tomorrow? I don't think the other guys are running much better. I mean, the outstanding athlete for Jamaica in the 200 is Brian Level. The only caveat is what kind of shape he'll show up in tomorrow. But he looked okay this morning, ran within himself. Here, I don't think he was running particularly hard either. So it looks like a watch type of run. Tomorrow we'll get a better sense of of what what he can actually do. You know, yeah. I guess we'll know for sure tomorrow. Yeah. 200 meters is different level in terms of the elite competition at a global level, but uh, we'll see. Let me get back to some of your comments here. Eric says Taylor is improving fast with the 400 background. He needs time. Yeah, he needs time for sure. When you're out for 3 years, it's going to take a long time, and it's not like his mind was 100% on track and field during the period he was out. It's well documented. He said it himself. There are moments where he wasn't quite sure if he would return to the sport. So, how you judge the level of commitment to train through a period of time when you're serving a suspension is interesting. I Part of me wants to see him run the 400. I also understand the difficulty of running the 400, and the last time he did run that, he competed in that event, and he made the finals. The assessment of his abilities then was he wasn't quite capable of doing the demanding work yet, and it would require much more background work over a few year period to get him at the level for his body to really respond and deliver the truly world class times you need to be competitive in the 400 meters. Can you look at him and say he's a sub 44 man? I don't really know. It's possible he could get there, but to be really competitive in the 400 meters, you have to be sub 44. And we've seen in the last few years, Hudson Smith, we've seen Hall, those guys are willing to push levels at 44, 43 fives and below, and you could run a 43.8 and may not get into a medal position. So it's a competitive landscape. The 200 meters is also ultra competitive. So if he's going to dabble in that levels, the real big boys are going to do sub 19.8, and there are guys who are pushing 19.4s. People can do 19.65. So whatever it is, for Christopher Taylor to be a force at the global level, if we believe the talent that he showed as a junior is good enough once the proper structures around him, it's gonna be two events that are extremely tough to navigate, and it's a commitment and lots of work required for that to happen. So we'll see. This might be the first stage of it, and we'll get to that point. Objectivity says we're not going to be competitive in 200 at Worlds. Yeah, that's for sure. All in the game is saying level needs a healthy Hudson. Yeah, Andrew Hudson, they're not doing so well either. He needs to get back to that 19.8. It's been a while. Yeah, I was hoping that the likes of Akeem Blake would also consistently run the 200. Oblique, there's a notion that he doesn't want to run that for different reasons, so we'll see. All in the game says Randall Frost, like Taylor, is supposed to be back. Yeah, I never got over the Randall Frost stuff. Also because his father is an ex-pro, his father is a coach. Like, you just don't get whereabouts violation when you come from that kind of structure. So I never could stomach that one. Eric says he's better off for the 200 next season. I would say for Taylor, whether he takes the 2 or the 400 meters, I think he's good enough to make a Jamaica team. He's good enough to get the world standard and move forward. Perhaps he should try a 2-4 double. I mean, I think he can do it. He probably should try a 2-4 double. It just requires a more detailed program. It's probably going to require twice a day training, effort, sleep management, all that stuff. It can be done. Whether you're willing to do it is a different question. Nevada says, and thanks everybody as usual for your continued comments. You know, it helps the engagement. Nevada says Christopher Taylor should be a good pick to run a leg in the mixed 4x4. Well, currently the Jamaicans aren't qualified for the mixed 4x4, right? Am I right on that? I actually think, given what we've seen in the 400 too, it's possible he could run a good leg on the 4x4 for men as well. Yeah. Carlton, good to have you in the house. Bless up yourself as well. Right. So that's the they did. I can't. No, I can't even remember. The women 4x1 is qualified, right? Yeah. I don't think they qualified for the mix. Am I wrong on that? The men's 4x4 qualified, even though that was a debacle. And they still have to qualify men's 4x1. Women's 4x1 already qualified. And they need women's 4x4. Okay, All in the Game says Jamaica so far qualified 4x1 and mixed 4. Okay. Okay, right. So they still need to qualify the other 3 teams. Right. Thanks for the clarification. So Kira McLeod is here. Did Wayne Pinnock show up? Is he jumping? Let's see. The men's long jump is in progress. Wayne Pinnock's name is on the entry form, but I don't know if he's there. Given what we've recently heard about this. All in the Game says only 4 teams qualified, all 5 teams: US, GB, France, and Belgium. Yeah. Alan Jackson, how are you? I think Sharika Jackson already qualified for the 200 because she won the last world champion. Yeah, that is true. She's defending champions from the Budapest World Championships are all qualified, and the Diamond League winners when the season is completed this year will also qualify, providing that there's not an overlap between the country of origin of the defending champion. Adi says, is Taylor minding the game? He simply disappeared after high school. I wonder if he still has competitive mentality rather than just going through the motion. Are we talking about Christopher Taylor? If you're talking about Christopher, he didn't disappear. Christopher Taylor went to the he's been out for close to 3 years on a suspension, and prior to that he was in the final of major games, so he was progressing, and then he had the suspension. So there's a bunch of guys doing the long jump right now, but I don't know how to follow it properly because they're not really putting that on the list, and this thing here doesn't really, it's not doing a good job of updating right now. So whenever I think Wayne Pinnock's mark was not a good mark, I saw that. So far, it looks like Nikolai Williams has a 768, but we'll see. Alan Jackson says, hopefully Tia Clayton can recover from her injury and qualify at the Diamond League by winning it. Ooh, I don't know. That I don't think that can happen. Because there's Eugene is this week, Ken coming up. Then you have Monaco, London, Poland, Lausanne, Brussels, then the finals in Zurich. So they're a halfway point in Diamond League. And I don't have the data off the top of my head. I don't know what the standings are. Unless she gets into, yeah, I don't think she would she'd have to get healthy and qualify for the Diamond League final in Zurich. I'm not sure that's possible. But maybe I don't have the points off it. I have to look up the points. Unless someone knows the points off the top of their head, they can tell me. Let me see the chart. Let me check the chart. Objectivist says Tia has 8 points already. Okay. All right. We'll get in. Yeah. And if she has to get healthy for sure. And then we'll see what happens there. Darren says Jamaica's men 4x1 will really need to run faster than 38.2 according to the Road to Tokyo 25. Yeah, they will have to be. Today there was a brilliant run from the Dutch. The Dutch ran a 37 performance today. There's a bunch of yeah, they have to qualify by running a super fast time. So there are some events coming up that I think they're going to use to try and qualify for the World Championships. I think they have 2 events. And so if you can get a team together, if they can run 37.5, then I think that should be good. That should get them, yeah. All in the games clarifying. Tia has 8 points and is in 6th place. So yeah. Yeah, it depends on how quickly she gets back, right? She could get it. Yeah, she could get a lane if she's healthy. That's a way to get to the World Championships. If assuming the injury is something that they can get over in time and she can get back to full health. And then she'll have to run a bunch of those Diamond League events that are coming up. But yeah, so she's out clearly. She wouldn't be running on the weekend in Eugene. Monaco is in July 11th, so you have to think she's gonna miss that too. Because you would think if it's even a strain or a grade 1, you're gonna need a couple of weeks. So it's probably, and then London is in when is London? The 19th. That's a possibility. It's not quite a month. So yeah. Yeah, object 16 points has to get you a lane. So yeah, I think she could do it. if she gets back healthy. Yeah, that's a way to get to the to the World Championships. All right. So right now there are the next thing that we'll get soon is the women's 100-meter hurdles, and they would just do a run through of that before they get that ready. They're just showing some long jump at the moment, and so Akira Nugent starts us off. There's also Wilson from Clemson. She had a decent season this year. Didn't do so well in the end at the NCAs, but uh, some talent there. Anika Wilson, that is. So it's going to be the top three from each heat, and the next two that will get into the we've now lost the entry list, the start list. Let me see. So heat one is heat two will have Amar Brown, Tapa, Karika Hill, lots of talent there. Hopefully she gets to the top at some point. Yannick Thompson. So it's just two heats. So yeah, we'll get to see that in a second. So yeah. All in the Game says Anavia Battle has already qualified for the Diamond League final by smartly stacking up 32 points already in the 200. Yeah, she is. She that was a smart move, I suspect, just in case US trial doesn't go well, because you have Gabby, Jamisha, Melissa, Jefferson Wooden, Mackenzie, Long, and Brittany. Yeah, I think that was a good move on Anavia, and she's undefeated over 200, right? So that's a good move for her, I think. Right. So 7:40 is when the women's 100 meters hurdles are scheduled. Then we'll get to the men. And then after that, it's just going to be a sequence of finals, 800 meters, and 400-meter hurdles. Sherwood says, since when are we waiting for more races? I'm looking forward to Sunday when Frana gives one of his two interviews to the media. They are always spicy. Any ideas of what you think he's going to say? So let me also put up the shot put results here. We didn't talk about them. As you know, the shot put is the field events competitive space to get to the World Championships. So Thomas Dodd won it in 1833. Laodicea Cameron 1724, and then the rest of that stuff there, I'm not quite sure what to make of that. The standard is 1880, as you know, to get to the World Championships. I haven't checked what Thomas Dodd did, but I think she would probably get in on ranking regardless if she hasn't made the qualifying mark. And all in the game, Jordan Scott and Shanika Ricketts in the triple jump has also qualified for the final. Yes, yes. Scott has been having a really good season uh, so far. All right, so we're at the semifinal stage for the 100-meter hurdles. As you know, Jamaica gets 4 spots at the World Championships with the defending champion, Williams, guaranteed a spot. Hundred-meter hurdles, it's so competitive. I wouldn't put anything on it, not even something free. It's just really difficult to call. Yeah, I'm trying to think for the start of the season. I'd have to say the athlete that I've enjoyed the most over 100-meter hurdles is probably Grace Stark. Has some little technical difficulties at the end, but she's really beautiful to watch in her execution. Akira Nugent has been running well. Masai Russell gave us some stuff. Tia Jones. Toby Amerson, I think, is 100% back right now. That's something to look for. Today, the Tajikan Bunji won, but I think it was win-aided, ahead of Vesa, I think. Yeah, it's just too competitive to name. Kenny was looking good earlier this season too, Kenny Harris. All the women in the... I think who we're missing in hurdles now, just want to see what Camacha Quinn can do. The French woman is also out. Samba Mayela, she's injured as well. So it's super stack. All in the game also said Grace has also qualified for the DL final, just in case something goes wrong at the Stack US trials. Makes sense. Oh, there. Williams looked like she exited the blocks earlier than usual, but the camera angle wasn't great, so I don't know if she requested to come out or it's a green card right now. Yeah. Yeah, women's hurdles, it's too competitive. It's the toughest event in all of track and field. And we're at the stage where I think at some point we should expect a world record. You never know. And yeah, and said hurdles are always difficult to call because I guess mess ups can happen. That's my opinion. Yeah. Oh, they're standing up again. What's going on? Yeah, that is true. It is. That's one of the things. The obstacle thing is an additional element that creates uncertainty. But I think the reason why it's impossible to call women's 100-meter hurdles is because we are experiencing generational talent. So much so that we are at a stage where there are so many high class women across the globe. It's loaded in the United States. Jamaica was loaded for a while. I imagine if Brittany Anderson comes back, the few athletes that are gone missing, then maybe there are a few European athletes too. That's way up there in class. So there are a bunch of women capable of dropping 12:30 and below. And if you're in a 12:30 and below mix, then on any given day, you can win this. And that's the challenge of being in a space at this time. It's almost like all these women are born at the wrong time, right? Yeah. So they're back in their blocks now. Want to see how Akira executes the first pass. It's a clean start. Nugent running within herself. She's not quite leading it, but now she takes over and she's just running a comfortable training run. Akira Nugent here Easy running there ahead of Roswell. She didn't break a sweat here. Quite comfortable for Kira Nugent, running time of 12:76. Let's get the results on the screen here. 12:76 for Kira Nugent ahead of Demisha Roswell at 12:89. Spencer 13:03. And it's almost difficult to do a training run anyway because you can lose rhythm, but absolutely nothing here from Akira Nugent. Didn't break a sweat. This is she's not even moving. This is just like, let's get to the next round. Yeah, nothing to see here for Akira, she's saying. Yeah. Objective is to say, we'll be interested, I guess interesting to see if Brittany Anderson comes back and run for Jamaica. What are there talks of her leaving? I mean, she's expecting right now, right? Trains in Italy there out of Padova. Very nice place in Padova. I think that's a really good space too for good high quality training. The weather there is good. I encourage you to go to Padova if you can. It's not a thing, it's not a place where people normally go, but there's a lot of sports science stuff down there too. So there's some different training camps. All in the game says not going well for Habiba Harris with a DNS following a disappointing NCAA final. Yeah, I don't know what happened to her. Is she feeling something? Danielle Williams is on the track. I guess she's looking for a run. I'm surprised she's running here. Running the 100, yes, as well. Looks like she's gonna run in some long tights too. So, oh, maybe not. Maybe she's not ready yet. Yeah, I'll take that. I take that back. Yeah. So the second heat will feature Myers, our second semifinal. Myers, Crystal Morrison, Amoy Brown, Megan Tapper, Williams, Karika Hill, and Thompson. Megan Tapper, also Olympic bronze medalist. Unfortunate at the last two World Championships not to make it into a final with possibly the two fastest times never to make it into a final of a World Championships. I guess this year no one will have to worry about that 9-lane tracks at Tokyo. Top three will go through from each semi. Easy, simple. An evolution in the sport, I would say. A welcome evolution to similar to the way in which the distance runners have been the rules have been shifted like around distance runners as well. I tend to like that. So again, just the top three will get through and the two best times. Currently, Williams and Anika Wilson are on the bubble at 13:16 and 13:20. I'm not sure if that will be enough. It might be. No, the Diamond League winners of this year are the ones at the buy, not the ones from last year. Megan Tapper getting introduced there. But on the Abia Harris point again, all in the game. I think, yeah, hopefully she'll be back. She's young. What's her PB? Is it what, 12.6, 12.6 and change, 12.62? I think she at 19, there's a lot of promise for her. So we'll wait to see. All right, they're getting in their blocks right now for the second semifinal of the women's 100-meter hurdles. I expect Megan Tapper to win this. I think I don't know. Danielle is probably just cruising. She doesn't need to run. It's a clean start there. Megan Tapper got out ahead of everybody. Is that Karika Hill there looking good too? But it's Tapper leaving them for dead. And Megan Tapper is extending her lead. Williams is running hard too. And it looks like Karika Hill may have gotten the third position. But Megan Tapper there running really good. 12:50 is the official time for the Olympic bronze medalist from Tokyo. Into a slight headwind of minus 0.1. Karika Hill there running 12:77, so she made it. Williams 12:76. That's a lovely run there from Megan Tapper. Amari Brown, a lot of work to do still. Happy for Karika Hill. I think she's ultra talented. So your finalists are Tapper leading everyone with 12:50. Williams 12:76, Nugent 12:76, Hill 12:77, Roswell 12:89, Spencer 13:03. Amai Brown gets in there at 12:84 as well, along with Yannick Thompson. So Brown may have some more to give there in the final. All in the game says swap out the two slowest in the final and add in Yannick and Brittany, and that's one hell of a final. It is. You know, that would be worthy of a major games, if you ask me. Maybe not quite, but you know what I'm saying. It's a high elite standard there. There's some discus throwing going on there. Looks like Mullings in the sector there. He had a really good NCA, beating the world record holder Mikolas Alekna. It is Mullings, right? Yeah, it is. Yeah. So let me see if I can get an update. So Mullins so far at 65.82. He's already okay for the World Championships. I would imagine he won't have any real issues. The discus is a 67.50. That's the entry standards for the requirement for the men's discus. I mean, we've already seen some world class throws this year. We've had a bunch of guys going over 70 meters this year. Mullins is at 69.31 for the season. So he's already with the standard. We've already had guys going 75.56 Alekna there. Matt Denny with 74, I think. Christian Che. A bunch of guys throwing big already for this season. The German guy too, what's his name? He had a big throw this year too. So the men's discus is also a space where we must watch out this year. High level competition across the board. I don't know. We've already talked about the exodus of the Olympic champion already, Roger Stoner, but the pipeline for the discus in Jamaica seems pretty good at still. All right, so next on the track, we'll get the semifinals for the men's 110-meter hurdles. We can talk about that in a second. I'll get the starting list up there. So try to get an entry list rather. That's not what I want to see. The start list. So heat 1 should feature Russell. Also Hansa Parchment, not having a great season. Elder statesman now, 35 years of age. But Rashid Broadbell, looking good this season as well. In the mix. We should expect something decent from him this season. There's also Alonda Bennett in the mix there in the second semi-final. So we'll see. (110-meter hurdles also really top class this season. Already Corda and Tinch way out there with the 1287. Looks like it's raining there in Jamaica. It's a little bit of drizzle there. That's not fun for guys in the discus. So yeah, I don't know what to say about the men's 110-meter hurdles this year. Competitively, it's a tough space. The Americans are. It's hard to make their team as well. Grant Holloway has the bye. He had an early injury, but he's trying to work his way back. I suspect he'll be fine by the time he gets to the World Championships. But he lost the other day, got run down the other day. So it's an interesting space. Cordell Tinch started the season pretty early, running some fairly good times. Still has the fastest time of the year. Trey Cunningham has a 13 flat, running well too. We also saw good times from Sasha Zoya, but he's also injured. Broadbell is in the mix. There's a bunch of other guys. You never know what Roberts will do, what Crittenden will do. Got to see what happens at the U.S. Championships in a few weeks as well. The Japanese guys have a couple guys too, Murataki and so on. So we'll see. Sorry there. I think you had asked me that and I didn't respond. Sorry, Nevada. What do you think about Dylan's last race? Almost going sub 13. He could sneak in and get a spot. I think Beard is in great form. He should be able to get one of the spots at U.S. National Championships. You have to count him in as a candidate to get a spot. Will he get a spot? I don't know, but I think he can. There's Cordell, there's Trey, there's Roberts as well. The US are really stuck with Oh, Dakers look like he almost fell out of the sector there. I think it's wet. They probably should. They probably should dry it off. I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, I like what I'm seeing from Dylan Beard. I like his story is also really, really good one too. Yeah. Paul Navarro says he's getting very confident. Watch him. Chad right there. That looks probably a little bit like 61, 62 meters, somewhere around there. It's not far. Chad Wright hasn't gotten the standard for a while, so hopefully he can here. Olympic finalist in Tokyo. Yeah. All in the Game says, will be a bloodbath between Tinch, Trey, Baird, Tharp, Roberts, Crittenden, Britt. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, Britt too. Yeah. Uh, it is possible, like last time, that you could end up with people running sub 13 at the US National Championships and finding their way off the team. That's a big throw there from Mullins. So it is very competitive at USA Championships. There's only 3 spots available because Grant. So for the remaining athletes, rather, Grant already has the bye. There's no, and they won't give it to the. If you even win the Diamond League, it doesn't matter. I think they'll give it to the defending champion. And a team can't have 5 athletes. So yeah. Nevada says that's crazy. Sub 13 not making the US team. It's possible. I mean, look at what happened last year at the Olympic Championships. Look at that. Those guys that got left off could have medaled at the Olympics or would have medaled. So it's always competitive there. Hurdles for the US men, US women. I don't know. The big question for me, since we're on the US stuff, is can Dalilah Muhammad do the unthinkable? So they're just doing at the moment some some long jump. They're moving back and forth with the long jump and the discus right now, but they're not doing a particularly good job of putting up the standings on the screen. So it's really hard to know. Yeah. Objectivity says the US 100/110 hurdles is where Turkey should be going shopping. You guys can't get off of Turkey stuff. I mean, perhaps Bahrain is there, or other people are gone, gone shopping. Yeah. Yeah. So once we're done with the 110-meter hurdles, we'll get to 800 meters for men and women. I'd like to see, maybe we can get something nice from Navaski Anderson. Can he run something special? Give us a 143. That would be good to see. I don't know if he can do that. And then we'll end the evening with the 400-meter hurdles. I don't know what your thoughts are there. I'm thinking Andrea Knight will win it. Perhaps the minor place is going to Salmon and Clayton for me. And in the men's, it should be Rashawn Clark, maybe Malik James King, and I don't know, Wilson. We'll see. I didn't give it full thought, but I'm going out on a limb there. Yeah. Sherwood 991 says, interesting that Omar M, which is Omar McLeod, is not running here. It is, because he's been running all season. He's been at meets, Continental Tour, all at the different meets. And I think, given the state of where Jamaica's 110-meter hurdles is at the current moment, I think if he were to come here, he would stand a good chance of making the team. I don't know if he would, but it's not like there's a bunch of Jamaican men running really low 13s, edging towards sub 13. Claire McLeod there going down the runway. That looks I don't know what that is. It's a legal jump, but it might be a little bit above 8 meters or just shy of 8 meters. It's kind of hard to see the angles here. So 793, so just shy of 8 meters for Kira McLeod. World lead today in the long jump from Tentoglu. 846. 840 is it 846, 847? Yeah. I always rant about long jump. If you haven't heard I'll spare it for most people, but yeah. Sherwood says they only shop in poorer countries. No, yeah, I think you have to understand the reason for movement, right? I I've heard that they've shopped in countries where you wouldn't believe as well, but it depends on the support structure. It depends on what you're feeling at the time. It's easier to go places if you feel aggrieved, yeah, and then you can probably get people to switch. Nevada says, I could see Mohammed making the team. She'll probably get that third spot. That's what I'm saying. I never thought Dalila would roll back the years like that. When I saw her earlier this season running up most of these meets, I like many, bought into the notion that it's her swan song, it's her last year. You would think she would do it, but she was just be running for running's sake. But then she ran that brilliant time the other day, and it's almost like a reversal there. So there is a chance. Anna Crockwell hasn't started to run anything super special yet. It's still competitive, but look, whether she can put together back-to-back races and deliver at the US Championships, we'll have to wait and see. Another comment coming in here from All in the Game. With Sid on that team, Dalila has to contend with Jasmine and Anna. Curious what Shamar does, as she looked terrible in the 400 hurdles for a very long time. Should back herself to make the 400 team. Yeah, she probably should go back to the 400 team. It's also a very interesting space too for the American women. I think Shamar is in a, I don't know if you would call it purgatory, but she's in a space where it's difficult. Maybe it's a rock and a hard places might be a better. I don't know. Instead of using analogies, here's what I'm saying. I think that Little is in a space that if she switched down to the 4, she might still run into some trouble getting on the US team, given some of the talent coming through. Whitaker, the collegiate athletes, sort of, I don't know. It's an interesting question, but I take it that it might be slightly easier for her to make that team than what she's been doing right now in the 400 meters, in the 400-meter hurdles. Yeah. Navarra says, I don't trust Little. By trust, what do you mean? That she will deliver on the day? All in the game says Shamar has a 49.68 PB. I think she's better than Holmes, for example, if she focus on just the 400. Talent wise, you think? I like Alexis, but maybe I'm biased. Probably. I think actually Shamar is definitely more talented than Alexis. Now that I'm thinking. Yeah, objectively so. Yeah. In the 400 space is a space you should probably want to be in. Yeah. Otherwise, she's going to end up going to the World Championships in a utility aspect, right? Running either on a 4x4 or on the mixed relays. And given her ability, I think she's better than that. Got you, Nevada. Makes sense. Yeah. Let's see where we are. So, oh, I didn't realize that the downtime is this long. So we still have another 22 minutes before we get to the senior hurdles. Yeah. For men. Right. Yeah, she's only going to be a relay prospect and she shouldn't do that. She is much better than that in terms of talent wise. Little is what now? 30. So the question is, can she get back to sub 53 in the 400-meter hurdles? If she can get to a low 50, what will it take to make the US team is the question. If she can she run 52.9? If she runs 52.9, maybe she makes team. But I don't know. She's not showing signs of that right now. All in the game, she ran 52.78 at last year's Diamond League. Yeah, in the London Diamond League. Yeah, I was trying to remember when I saw that. I think that will get her on the team if she can get to that. You know, that will get her on the team. Maybe we should message her and see if she'll answer. She won't, though. So it beats me why they're taking this long to run the difference between the women's hurdles and the men's hurdles. That shouldn't take that long to set up. But I don't make the program, guys. So there's no track action at the moment. Men's 110-meter hurdles will come up in 29 in about 20 minutes or 29 minutes or so. And then immediately after those semifinals for the 100-meter, the 110 hurdles rather, they'll transition to the women's 800-meter final, men's 800-meter final, 400-meter hurdles for men and women. And that will close out the evening at this for day 3 of the Jamaica Championships. Did the Favor Feely run come up yet? Did anybody see the legit run yet? Oh, I didn't realize that Othadal threw 22.09 today. I missed that one. That's a big throw there. 22.09 for pay. Yeah, that's another stack thing there. The shot put guys haven't been going throwing big stuff yet, but that's a big mark there. 22.09. You gotta like that. Nevada says at least high 52 to make the US team. Yeah. All in the game says Jasmine Jones ran 52.77 for third to make the Olympic team. That's how competitive it is. Yeah. The hmm, it is hard. I don't know. Yeah. I don't disagree with you that she might need to go back to the 400 flat, but we'll see. So far, Mohammed has gone, what, 52.9. I don't know how to factor her, to be honest with you. She's not young anymore, but if she can do a few things, she can get there. Jones, I think you can never count her out. She hasn't run the times like last year yet. Jasmine, that is. But there's some time for that. Anna Hall also hasn't run anything super special yet. But you would think by the time you get to the US National Championships, Hall, Jones will also be in really, really good shape. And fastest American this year is what? Rachel Glenn at 53.48. So it's still early. But I think by the time you get to US Championships, you're gonna need 52. You want to be in a shape where you can at least run 52 mid to high 52s. If you can get into like the 52 fives and below, then you're probably guaranteed a spot. And otherwise, you're gonna be struggling. Yeah. All in the game. Hannah Hall will only do the HEPA trials. Yeah. Anna Hall, man, pulled up a lot of trees the other day in Gotis. All in game says coming off injury, Rachel Glenn needs to only do the high jump and leave the four. Yeah, that's yeah. I think sometimes athletes where they can do a lot of stuff, it confuses them. You don't know what you want to do. You got Glenn. The same for uh the what's the kid that used to go to LSU? His name's slipping me right now. Javon. But he's been focusing more on one event. But you have to think that when things don't go well, they might be like, should I go to both events, right? That's you never know. Yeah, Javon Harrison, he's also super talented. It's probably like Matt Bowling too. Maybe his talent level is not where we thought it would be, but he's also one of those guys that straddle a number of events, and you're just not quite sure which one you settle with. I don't know if we spoke about this all in the game or people on the chat All people feel free to join in on this. When Anna Hall delivered that big time hep, uh, I don't know if we thought about whether or not can she do better than that, right? Because I was trying to think. I, I'm. I just want to make it clear. I'm not thinking about world records. I. I, I think the women's heptathlon world record is out of reach, even for. Yeah, I just don't think it's possible. But Anna Hall this year went 7,030 PB'd on a number of events in GOTUS. And whenever you see that, it 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 makes you wonder about where you go for events like that. Can it makes you think, can the Jackie Joyner Curse world record go, which I don't think it can. It's just so difficult to get those extra 200 and change points. But Anna Hall, with her performance in GOTUS, moved what, second on the list, joining Carolina Kloof. Some people thought Kloof could eventually would have broken the Jackie Joyner Cursor record if she didn't retire early. I don't really know, but Carolina was really a super athlete in some years back. But to beat Curse's record is 7,229. I don't know. I mean, Hall would have to run like a 207, 800 meters, 208, somewhere there. And I don't know if she has that in the legs. I don't think she can. Yeah, that's wild to think about. But yeah. All in the game says bowling at 825 guys should be long jumping given how weak the event is. That is true. 825 could land you a gold medal. Maybe not, but you'll never rule it out, right? 825 is certainly something, and the US men are not really that good at also over long jump. Globally, long jump is in a stage. I'm hoping that Mattia Furlani can reignite. Given his age, he could be the one to push things. Jamaica has a bunch of guys. Well, had, and there's athletes here and there. I would love to see a stage where you can make it into the top 8 at a major championship if you're not willing to jump 8 meters 50. That's just me. I feel you go to the world championship, I want to see guys going 840 to get into the final and better. And we haven't seen these big jumps consistently for a while. We probably just peaked 30 something years ago, and we had guys jumping 860 for fun. Carl Lewis, Mike Powell, those guys, Ivan Pedroso, James Beckford, all these people. But it happens. But I think the long jump is just not a space. And I was thinking about it. It's quite possibly the innovation is probably, maybe it's not innovation is the word, but I think what we may be discovering is athletes are just not into it. Probably the sport doesn't reward the jumps the way they reward other events. We know that to be true. Perhaps you need star power, maybe personality. But we're getting back to Tokyo in 1991, the greatest long jump showdown. Well, at least in my memory, happened then. And I don't know, some would say perhaps the greatest long jump competition occurred in 68 in Mexico. Ralph Boston was still there. And obviously Bob Beamon went nuts to go to break the world record. But Mike Powell, Carl by every indication is probably the greatest long jumper ever, is the greatest long jumper ever, consistently with those big jumps, all the records, all that stuff. We need to see that again. But you probably need personality. Yeah. All in the game says Anna can improve her 201, 23, 800 meters, 22. It's just, yeah. So just, yeah, I think you have to get massive breakthroughs in order to break the record, because she's short of it by a lot. And I don't know if you can. And then she's coming off injury again, and she's back now fully to do 7,032 is big. Certainly, we haven't seen any of that kind of stuff since forever, right? And I think last time we saw 7,000 and change was probably Nafitiam, right? So yeah, I don't know. The conditions have to be right. She has to be focused on it, and the challenge is when you get to the 800 meters, you're like dead, and so it's an interesting question there. I suspect that JJK's record would live on. It's way out there, and it's one of those things. All in the game, she's a 654 jumper. JJK was a 749 jumper. Jackie Joyner Kirsten ran 22.3 in 200. Anna has 22.8. Yeah, so you have to go down on those things, and yeah, I don't. Yeah, maybe she isn't the one. I no disrespect to her. I mean, it's just like Cursor was this different class, Yeah. So the hurdles are on the track, guys. We're about to get some action soon. We're getting close to track events again. Thanks for listening to me rant on a bunch of stuff, but all in the game. I think she can run sub 2 meters if she's solely focused on 2 minutes if she's solely focused on it. She's that good. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I want to make it clear. I think Anna Hall can run a super time. It's just, if you say you're trying to go world record mode, you have to be at your very best in the rest stuff, maybe overachieving. She'd have to get a couple more PBs, and then you have to then transition into, at the end of that, do you have anything? But the gentlemen are on the track right now for the 800 meter, for not the 800 meters, for the 110 meter hurdles. Just got a shot there of the 2021 Olympic champion Hansa Parchment. On paper, this is a good heat. Rashid Broadbell is there. I expect him to be the one to lead the charge. DeJour Russell in lane 2. When he was a student at Calabar, you thought he would transition, but he doesn't look like he's in shape. I mean, let's be honest. He's doing a hurdles race, but he kind of looks like a shot putter there. I don't mean it in a pejorative sense, but I'm just saying. And so there's Russell, Roberts, Hansa Parchment, Campbell, Broadbell, Hales, DePass. So the top two from this heat will automatically qualify for the final and the next two best times. I didn't mean to body shame Russell. I apologize for that if it came off that way. Came on. Broadbell is the kind of guy, if he executes well, if he gets all parts of the race right, on a night he should really be approaching the Jamaica national record. I think Broadbell is a guy that should be able to run sub 12.9. It's just whether or not he can execute the race. All right, they're settling into the blocks right now. Russell last to get in. Broadbell there in lane 6. Just need to be in the top 2 to qualify. So it's a clean start there. So Broadbell is a bit back there. He's have to be working. Hansa Parchment in the back as usual, but he's motoring away there. It looks like Parchment ahead, but then Broadbell comes through. Parchment looking across, trying to check Parchment. So Broadbell ahead of Parchment here. 13:27 is the time across there. Let me get that on the screen in a second. So I'm looking at this again. Franz got out really well. Parchment in the back as usual. Broadbell didn't have the best of start either, but he's motoring his way back in. Comfortably winning in the end. Parchment just looking across, ensuring that he's getting a spot. So 13:27, 13:32 into a slight headwind. And Campbell in 13:37 and Roberts in 13:41 will be waiting to see if they can advance. All right, so the second heat coming up will feature Bennett, Stern, Prince Hall, Bryan, Watkin, and Warmington. Again, top 2 go through. Bubble times right now is 13:37 and 13:41. So if you finish outside the top 2, you got to beat 13:37, 13:30, 13:41 to get into the final. All right, so they're just working their way through right now. All right, so they're getting prepared for the second semifinal. David Warmington out of University of South Carolina. Used to spend some years in Columbia, South Carolina, way back in the day. Walking from Kingston College. Hi, Debbie, what's up? How are you doing? Hope you're doing well. Hope you're enjoying the championships and all the other stuff that's going on. So Jaheim Stern there in fifth, in the fifth lane rather, in lane 5. Prince in lane 6 out of Baylor University. So a bunch of collegians are here. Warmington, Stern, and Prince. Yeah, last night was definitely next level stuff, Debbie. 100 meters delivered everything you wanted. Fast times, drama, probably a little bit too much drama in the men's. And, joy, also disappointment, obviously, people getting injured. Clayton and even Brian Level not being able to competitively finish his race as well. So those things happen. It's sports, I suspect. All right, so they're settling into the blocks right now. I expect semifinal one should be quicker. They pull them back up again, but you never know. You know what times are on the bubble. You have to work hard here. All right, they're going back now. This might be a hot heat. Everybody knows what's required. It's a clean start there. Look at Prince. Prince is moving away there, and Bennett is all there. It's like 3 guys back to back. It's gonna be Prince and Bennett. Who are? It looks like Prince ahead of Orlando Bennett. 13:20 looks like the time. Oh, they're motoring there. That's pretty good. The Mario Prince 13:20, the man out of Baylor in Waco, Texas, right? Waco, yeah. Orlando Bennett 13:24, Stern 13:27. Those 3 will go through for sure. Look how Prince is moving there. So Stern gets that 13:27. In Heat 1, it was 30. So if Campbell goes through on 13:37 from Heat 1. And so your finalists for tomorrow, 13 leading everyone going in fastest time, Prince at 13:20, Bennett 13:24, Broadbell 13:27, Parchment 13:32, Stern 13:27, and Campbell 13:37. It's pretty decent. Debbie says she's loving the championships. And Brian, hey, what's up, Brian? Oh, I got that wrong. My apologies, guys. It's like it's 3 heats. I thought it was 2 heats. My bad. It's 3 heats. There's no finals yet. On the track is heat number 3, and it's gonna have Simmons, Raheem Brown, Phillips, Jerome Campbell, Tyler Mason, Sullivan, and Edwards. So no one's qualified except for the top 2 so far. Brian is asking, what's the money race today? Well, it's the 400-meter hurdles for men and women. Those are the 2 finals coming up later today. Next as well will be 800-meter finals for women and men. That's less competitive, I think. Not enough people have the standard for the World Championships, but it should be interesting for women's 400-meter hurdles, the men as well. I expect exciting competition. Time-wise, I'm not quite sure how to pick through that yet, but we'll see. All in the game. Money race could low-key be the men's 800, as the other finals today are fairly predictable. I guess you mean from a betting standpoint. Yeah. All right, so they're introducing the athletes there. So Brown is in this race, but he doesn't count. He's a Cayman athlete. So it's Phillips, Campbell, Tyler Mason, Sullivan. And Tyler Mason's hairline is interesting at his age. All in the game. Men's 800 meters has 6 guys around the same level. The other finals have a clear favorite and only 2 other people that can finish top 2. That is true. I only wish that the 800 guys were in like 144 and 143 shape, but we can dream. Debbie says Brian Levis coming with vengeance, and especially he didn't make he made the finals. He didn't. He pulled up in the finals. Yeah. You mean the team for the World Championships? Yeah, I think he was running with himself this morning and in the semis just now. So hopefully that works out. So clean start there. Tyler Mason motoring there, and Phillips and Mason right there. It looks like Mason's gonna win this. So, or Campbell rather. So 13:21 is the flash time. Let me see if we can get 13:22 there. That's pretty good running there for Tyler Mason. So 1322 for Tyler Mason and Jerome Campbell 1333. Phillips at 1344. I don't think he's gonna make that. So it's gonna be from the other two heats. Because Stern still has 1327 and Campbell 1337. So I think those are your 8 finalists for the final tomorrow. Brian, men's 800 meters has gone into the stratosphere since last season, but I find it hard anyone taking down Rashida's 140.91 that's out there. Actually, Brian, I disagree on that. I think that if we were to reflect on Emmanuel Wanyuna's 141 he did in altitude in Kenya, that probably was a better run than the London 2012 from Rashida, or if not equally. I now the question is, again, it's impressive how David ran his, right? He ran it in the Olympics and so on. There's a lot of guys running well, and I I'm more confident than I've ever been before. When I saw the 140, so many years ago, I just felt like that's never going to be broken. And kind of felt the same way from the 90s when Wilson Kipketer did the record before. But now when you see so many athletes coming now in the 800 meters, you have to think it's only a matter of time with the right conditions. And you have such a talented field. Wanyoni, you have Arap, you have Sajati. Josh Howie's coming in the mix this year too. I don't know what he can do eventually. There's Masalele, the guy from, I guess, the most improved guy, and would be the Botswanan athlete. Who else? We'll see eventually if Bryce Hopper does anything. Uh, there's just so many guys out there that it's really hard to, to think that we won't get close to the world record. So I think it's gonna go. Will it go this year? I don't know, right? That's this that's one of those things that I have no idea about. Even Peter Boyle the other day was running 143. He's not elite enough to be in the conversation with those guys like the Spanish guy. What's the Spanish guy's name again? Atawi. Yeah, yeah. He's also in the mix. So imagine getting a bunch of these guys running in the 141 range, 142 lows. You just never know if with the right conditions. So I'm more confident than I was ever before that the Rhodesia record will go at some point. Now, having said that, they still have to run it, and you may not get it, but there's so many guys now. Look, you think about the Olympic final last year, running 141, and you're not making it on the podium, right? So that suggests to you that it refocuses what the elite athletes have to do, right? It suggests that you have to change uh things, right? So my guess is it's gonna happen, and we'll just have to wait until it does. But I think it will happen, right? You know, Bryce Hopper run what 141.67 last year, couldn't make it on the podium. That's levels of ridiculousness that we'll never you just can't believe. So I'm confident it's gonna go. All in the Game says 20-year-old Wanyoni is only he he's only 0.2 away. Yeah, he's very close. So I think Wanyoni he can do it, and they may bring a bunch of guys in the mix too. So all right, so the 800 meters are on track. As usual, I appreciate all the comments and questions that help me to think through a lot of stuff. Where's my... Okay, so 800 meters on track. Shafika Malone is in the race. She's from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, so she's not in the mix. Adele Tracy's running. There's also Natoya Gould, who still is the standout. And in many ways, that also highlights the issues with the championships and with Jamaica, that, as good as Gould is, there's never been a bunch of other athletes coming up to be competitive. And it's a kind of a race that Jamaica could be competitive in, or should be competitive in. At least they should have at least 3-4 athletes vying every year to make a world team. So we'll see. Not sure what we'll get. Gould already... What did Gould run this year? She already has a 156, right? Or a 157. I have to check that. No, she has a 158 this season. What am I saying? Not 156. I apologize. Yeah. Yeah. Dugama has the 156 this year. Brian says a few seasons ago, 800 was in the dumps. Guys could duck under 143 now. So many guys are challenging. Yeah, it just probably sometimes it just takes a couple people to step up, right? So you think about what you saw last night. Thompson just dropped a 975. That's the fastest time we've seen in about a decade or so. The rest of the world has to be like, if I want to be in the mix, we have to try to step up. That doesn't mean they're going to get there, but what it does is to refocus the training. If today I was going to not eat properly, I may not, I got to go to bed early, less party and do the workouts, not complain about it. I think that's what's happening. And the 800 meters, especially in the European guys, the American guys in the middle distance running are improving. A lot of stuff been improving as well. The science behind it, the period, the training, the tracking, major improvement, the bicarbs, the different recovery stuff people can take, especially in the longer stuff like the marathon. And we know about the shoe stuff that happens on the road running. So there's things to make you feel confident that world records, or if not world records, the average is going to move in a faster direction. So, or the median runner is going to be better than maybe a decade ago, especially in the distances. And we've seen that a lot in the women's side too. But women world records are always poised for I would say another 2 decades to continue to push the margin on that. There's this great paper on this that was written like maybe 2001. I can't remember now, but it shows like the difference in it, and some of that is structural because many women weren't allowed to participate in distances above certain level for a long time, and different types of stuff. So there's room for growth in those things. And if we were to like act some of those records that we know are invalid because of state-sponsored doping and other things, we would have seen a lot more records, especially at the going. But it's kind of a challenge of the sport. All right, so they're waiting to get this 800 meters started. Any bets on what we'll get? Will we get a sub 2 minutes? Will Gould give us like a 158? I mean, Maloney is in the race, I think. So maybe she'll push. Is why is Maloney sharing a lane with Adele Tracy when Adele Tracy is a Jamaican athlete? We're saying 159.80. That's your prediction, Brian. So they're on their way right now. 800 meters, one turn stagger. So they're cutting over right now. Maloney looks like she's in the lead right now, and looks like the athlete from Edwin Hallin, schoolgirl, is moving the pace. They're at around like 30.1 coming around the bend. This is going to be very slow. You would want them to go somewhere around 50 and change, but it's going to be like minute. I don't know. It's going to be 60 something seconds here for sure. And well, actually, no, they went like 50, 58. It was faster than I thought. Maloney's moving, but she's not. She's from St. Vincent. And Gould is now trying to make her way up just right behind Shafika Maloney now. So Natalia Gould is establishing herself. So about just around 200 meters to go. Maloney has a couple a couple steps on Natalia Gould. Gould could, if she starts to put the sprint on, get into this. At this stage, we might get just below 2 minutes. It's like 1:48 right here at about 15 or 20 meters to go. Maloney is making her way. Natalia Gould is getting run out of this. So it's Maloney ahead of Kellyanne Beckford, it looks like. I think Gould may be fourth in the race or third in the race. Let's see if the results are here. So Gould got fourth, but she was like third overall. Beckford extends out, and she runs past Gould and Chepintich. Who the hell is this? So Beckford 2 minutes 23. All in the game. 34 Gould not getting any younger. Changing of the guard with Beckford. Possibly. I have to investigate it some more. I don't know. Kelly and Beckford. How old is Beckford right now? Beckford is what, 25? So so Maloney wins this. She's St. Vincent from St. Vincent. Beckford is the official winner for Jamaica. Then the Kenyan athlete is not in third. Then Gould. So Beckford needs to run a 159, right? If she's gonna make the standard. So, oh, yeah, let me put that back on the screen. I guess I never put it on the screen, Brian. Sorry about that. I thought I did. So the winning time is 1:59:81 for Maloney, but technically the winning time is 2 minutes 23 because Beckford is the Jamaican. Chepintich is from Kenya, Gladys that is, so she doesn't count either. And Natoya Gould. So it's basically Beckford to Gould, even though the order is 1, 2, 3, 4. And this might be, I believe, a personal best for Kellyanne Beckford, 2 minutes 23. She would need to run a couple races relatively soon. Well, not necessarily relatively soon, but before August 24th, I think, or 25th, to get the standard for the World Championships. So she has to hit a 159 flat in order to get the standard. Can she do that? I don't really know, but yeah, it's going to require some work there. All in the game, St. John Reed and a couple of others need to move up to 800 to give Beckford some more competition. Yeah, possibly now. Yeah, you want to see that. And all in the game is also confirming Bedford needs to now go on the circuit and run 159. I suspect that should be in her legs. Get that 159, and she's on the plane to Tokyo. Not sure what travel plans look like for Tokyo from Jamaica. I suspect there are no straight flights. Probably if you fly to Chicago, you can get onto a straight flight on ANA right into Tokyo. There's some United flights too, but I would recommend the ANA flight. All right, so the 800 meters for men, they're introducing now. There's a bunch of other guys here that's not from Jamaica in the mix. I don't know some of these guys. These Clemson guys that came down, I suspect are all athletes from what's the coach? Lennox Miller, right? Is it? Yeah, he's his athletes, I guess. Yeah. So Anderson already has a 144.61. 144.50 is the required standard for the World Championships. So they're off. It would be good if they could come in at around 49. Forgive me, guys. I don't know some of these names really. Like I can't identify some of these athletes. Yeah, I guess especially the ones that they just brought in. Anderson is like, Novaski is a bit behind whoever this guy is. I guess this number 65. That's the Kenyan athlete. So Kiwi, I think, or Key. I just butchered that probably. So they got through in about 52 and change. So this is not going to be quick. So Kiwi there from Clemson. I think he might be Kenyan. He's leading. And I don't know who that is. So Anderson now is trying to make a run on the curve. This is not going to be particularly quick. I don't know. Novatsky Anderson here is moving, but Taylor is making a move ahead. Look at Taylor moving here. Taylor coming through. He's going to dip and win this. Taylor wins this in 1:45.26 ahead of Robban 1:45.31. Anderson 1:46.03. Absolutely slow times right here. So Taylor from out of the University of Arkansas. Found a way to kick, and that might be a PB for him at 1:45.26. He would need to go 1:44.5 if he's gonna make the standards. So technically it's Taylor and Anderson 1-2 if you're just counting the Jamaicans, because Robban isn't from Jamaica. All right, so that's the 800 meters done final for tonight. Only two events left, women's 400 meter hurdles and men's 400 meter hurdles. Just a word on that 800 meters there. I didn't see this coming. I thought Anderson would pull this through, Novaski that is, and he didn't. Quite slow running much slower than I thought. 1:46.03 is just, it's a joke of a time if you're going to be honest, if you want to be the national champion. And 1:45.26, that's a good run for Taylor. I don't know if he has anything left to get him down to meet the standards to get on that plane to Tokyo, but there's some time for him to do that. But that's asking a lot. It's asking a lot. But it seems like it could be possible, if he can get into a race where the pacing is much better, is running with higher quality athletes, he might be able to get down to that the time required to get on the plane. All right, so we're getting close to the 400 meter hurdles final. That's coming up. That should be on track soon. What are your thoughts here? Yeah, what are your thoughts here? Yeah, all in the game is saying 1:45.26 isn't a million miles away from 1:44.5. Yeah, I agree. I think it's, if he can get into a good couple of races, get dragged along, I think it's quite possible that he could get that time. So that's encouraging there. It's also good that somebody else that, well, I never thought, I'll put my hands up. I didn't see this coming. So that's good news there. So the finals of the women's 400 meters coming on track right now. Let's get your predictions for the winner. So I'm going with Knight, Clayton, and Salmon, I think. So so this should have already been on track. It looks like they're not ready yet, or are they? I don't know. All in the game says Knight, Clayton, Salmon. Tempted to go for Salmon over Clayton. Yeah, I'm thinking. That's where I was going to. I was going like maybe Knight, Salmon, then Clayton because Rochelle hasn't been running in the way we ax we normally get from her. So we'll see. Eileen says Knight, Salmon, Clayton. Yeah, I can go with that. Yeah, it would be nice to get a 52. I don't know if we're gonna get that. I think that might be asking for too much, but maybe something like a 53. If we can get sub 54, 53, mid 53s, that would be brilliant. That would set them up for something later on the season. So just two more races for the well for the end, and then tomorrow final. Brian is coming in with Clayton, Knight, Salmon. So he's banking on Clayton to win this. Yeah. So Jamaica Championships conclude tomorrow, and the 200-meter finals tomorrow. Those are the last two events on the track. There will be a bunch of 200 meters for under 18 and under 20 boys and girls. We'll also get the hurdles tomorrow. 400-meter finals also on track. So that should be interesting. We'll be back for that too as well. Wrap up a team that shaping up to be more than decent team that could be headed to Tokyo. It's unfortunate that some of the athletes, in the field events aren't going to be there, but that's a different story. I'm not sure what's happening or why there's a delay, but the 400-meter final was scheduled to take off 7 or so minutes ago. The athletes look like they're out there adjusting their blocks right now. I could see whoever is in lane one, that's Douglas, it looks like, just going through the motions there. So it's quite possible that in another couple of minutes or so, this will get started. All right, so just waiting for this hurdles race to start. Rochelle Clayton here in what looks like a very blue lipstick. Well, could be something else. Who knows? All right, so it's going to be Douglas White, Russell Hines, Salmon, Knight, Clayton, and Shanique Walker. 3 spots available for the World Championships. You need 54.65 is the standard for the World Championship for qualification standards. Looks like a fearless empty grandstand there. So not a lot of support tonight. So they're just introducing athletes at the moment. So yeah, I'm going Knight, Salmon, Clayton. We'll see. There's a shot here of Genevieve Russell, been around for a while. Not sure we'll get much from her this year. All right, they're in the blocks. Camera on Genevieve Russell. It's a clean start here. Looks like Clayton is making a move. She may be leading, but no, Knight might know, and Salmon in the mix right now. It looks like Knight ahead of everybody. Knight, it looks like it's Knight in the lead, but Clayton is also running really well there. Clayton is also making a good move around the curve here. Salmon is also making it, but Rochelle Clayton is making a big move here. She might take this. She's coming into the lead, just one hurdle left. And she's going to navigate this. Rochelle Clayton is going to win this. Brian might be right with his prediction. Rochelle Clayton is winning this with about a 3-4 meter lead there. ahead of Anjanette Knight and Cheyenne Salmon. 53.81. I apologize. I should have never doubted Rochelle Clayton. Clayton wins this in 53.81. Knight 54.52 and Salmon 54.65. That's a big run by Rochelle Clayton. At one point, Knight was in the lead, but then Clayton just started to move ahead. She switches her leg there. Really good, strong performance by Rochelle Clayton here. We're getting a sub 40, 54, which is decent running. 53.81. So it's Clayton, Knight, Salmon. All three that I predicted, but certainly the wrong order here. So one more event on track tonight, and that will be the men's 400-meter hurdles final. I suspect that might take a little time for them to get going because they have to adjust the hurdles, which they probably should already be doing right now. But in the meantime, so it's going to be Archer, Forbes, Stewart, Hyman, Clark, Wilson, Malik James King, and Murray. Last chance to get your predictions in for the men's 400-meter final. It would be good to get a 47 tonight. I'm not sure if we'll get a 47. But it would be nice if a couple guys could run 47 and change tonight. Obviously, the 400-meter hurdles, different class. The big three are still around: Rai Benjamin, Karsten Varham, Alison DeSantis. You have to think Rai Benjamin is moving in some interesting direction. A couple weeks ago, we saw the 300-meter hurdles, which I'm not a fan of. Varham winning that. No surprise. I think Varham is the best hurdler from up to 8 hurdles. And a couple days later, Rai Benjamin with a stunning performance there to take a world lead in the men's 400-meter hurdles, and quite possibly will enter into Tokyo the favorite. We'll see what we get from Dos Santos at some point. He had been running earlier this season a lot of races, but I think he also is in the mix. I still can't see anybody displacing Benjamin, Dos Santos, and Varham off the podium. I mean, Samba ran a really good 47.09. There's the emergence of a bunch of other athletes too coming through. The Nigerian athlete is also coming through, Ezekiel Nathaniel there. So it's a tough space to be in if you want to be competitive in men's 400-meter hurdles, but we're not here to focus on that right now. Here to see which 3 guys that can make it. So Malik James King there getting himself ready. So for me, I'm gonna go Clark, Wilson, King, Wilson, some order like that. That's my take. Russian Clark there with a little bit of strapping. Yeah. Kenneth says, I see the big beast make it last night, but little the beast took over and made third spot. What's it? No, I have to be honest with you. Akeem Blake yesterday did much better than I thought. I had originally said it was gonna be Thompson, Seville, and then Brian Lavelle. Never worked out. So, but kudos to Akeem Blake. We shouldn't have doubted him really. 988. He's getting up there. Had a really good start. Yeah. As for Johan, I think you can never tell an athlete when he should call it quits, but it's increasingly difficult. It's not going to be. He won't. He's no longer capable of making the Jamaica team. So at some point, I guess he'll bow out. But he probably has this love for the sport that makes him stay much longer. Eileen says King, Clark, Wilson. All right, so they're in the blocks right now for the final event of day number 3 of the Jamaica National Championships. 3 spots to Tokyo on the line. Hope it's a really fast time. It's like a clean start right now. It looks like Malik James King with the lead right now. Clark also motoring now. Wilson's also going well. So it's Clark in the lead for me. He's clearing the barriers first. Then Malik James King or Wilson. Clark is going to come off the bend better than the rest. It's about 32 at 200 there. It's going to be less than 47 for sure. Rashawn Clark into the lead now. He has a couple meters ahead of the rest. Malik James King making a move there. Him and Wilson's going to go for. So it's Clark, Wilson, and King. So the official time is 48:02 for Rashawn Clark. Just getting close to that 47 mark. Asini Wilson, second, just out sprinting Malik James King there at the line, 48-42 to 48-49. So those are the guys who picked up the spot. So all of those times are good enough. 48-49 is below the standard. So good sprinting there in the end from Rashawn Clark. He was running really hard. Maybe he was trying to get a really good time there. Outclassed the field in the end. So that's some good running there. Rashawn Clark looking really comfortable. I think he had 47 in the legs. A better execution, maybe on a couple hurdles, maybe going out a little bit better. But he's getting back to his best. We saw that he pulled up in the Grand Slam track earlier this year, so it's good to see him back. Asini Wilson too. Congratulations to him making it on a World Championship team. Malik James King also again going to another major championships in back-to-back years. So those guys are in good shape. There's some time for them to improve. I would think that what they're looking for is to try to make a final, go deep in a semifinal, especially for Wilson. Is first major games there. Like I said, it's very competitive. It's hard to medal. It's hard to be in the mix. If you're not a 46 guy, you have no chance at medaling. So you just got to get there, maybe set some different targets. But that's it. So I put this back on the screen just for one more time. Same to you there, Eileen. Yeah. Yeah, I was looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. Tomorrow will be a good night to you too. Tomorrow is gonna be final day of the Jamaica Championships, and 200 meters tomorrow, 100-meter hurdles, 110-meter hurdles. Those are big events on track tomorrow, and I think there might be some field events too, javelin and so on. So it's gonna be exciting. 400 finals as well tomorrow, so that's gonna be good. So really exciting things tomorrow to wrap up the Jamaica Championships. There's some good performances so far as we reflect on these last few days. Some performances that you want to improve upon, and we'll unpack all of those in the coming days. But yeah, it was cool hanging out with you guys again, and I'll be back tomorrow to wrap it up. And stay tuned to the channel. We have some new stuff pushing out. Thanks for the support. Thanks for subscribing, for liking the video, and you guys enjoy your evening. See you soon.